So yesterday, we got some pretty big news in regards to Operation Monarch, aka Godzilla vs. King Kong in Warzone. But that was only part of the news that actually came out. The rest of it came out later, actually right when my video went live, for all of the rest of the information on Season 3, who the operators are, the maps, so on and so forth, and on top of that, some new locations within the Caldera, aka Warzone, as well. So what I thought I would do today is break down all of that information that we were given yesterday and tell you everything that is coming within Season 3. There's a lot here, a lot of different things to talk about, various different games. So without further ado, let's start by looking at the roadmap. So just like we had in the trailer about a week ago, we can see that the main thing is called classified arms. And we'll dive into that a little bit, but more specifically, the interesting thing is that they're rebranding from just Season 3 to classified arms. We've talked about that in a previous video, and I'll probably dive into it again in a future video as well. But the first things that I wanted to start with aren't the classified arms, but rather Warzone. So first of all, the biggest thing, on May 11th, we get Operation Monarch, which is the Godzilla vs. King Kong event. I don't exactly know what it's going to be at this point. They didn't really go into much depth with it, but we have a little bit more information with this when it comes to looking at the new Warzone locations. So first off, we have something called Dig Site. And as far as this one goes, it is in between mines and ruins. And basically what you can see here, we have some dinosaur bones. And as you're going to look at these various different locations, you're going to see that the map is kind of foggier, darker, and a storm has now come to the Caldera. I think this will intensify as we get into the event, but to start out, this is kind of what we're looking at. After this, we have 3 locations that were updated: Runway, Peak, and Lagoon. So starting off here, we have Peak. As you can see, essentially what has happened here is it's more complete, more fortified, kind of more surrounding areas, walls, things along those lines, and just all in all looks a little bit more complete. Runway is the second location, and with this one, you can see it just essentially looks more complete. And an interesting thing is, if you look into the background of this image, you can see this kind of glowing stone thing off in the background. That is the next thing we're going to talk about. So not only at Runway, but also at Lagoon. So apparently these stone structures have appeared around the map, and those will be coming during Season 3. But what they say about what is going to happen during Operation Monarch is interesting. It says, Operation Monarch will introduce a new game mode for quads based on several classic experiences with a Titan-sized twist. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but any speculation you have, feel free to let me know down in the comments. After this, we have a new gulag. This one is called Hold, and it actually takes place off the coast of the Caldera. Not exactly sure what it's going to look like. All we really have at this point is this image. And where things get interesting is when we dive into the mid-season intel. It says underground rumblings. Essentially what they're talking about here is underneath Peak, there is some rumblings going on as to something that will happen during the mid-season update. The mid-season update should take place after the Operation Monarch event, and the thing that everyone is talking about is something revolving around a volcano explosion. This has been a rumor since the very beginning, and with the term underground rumblings, this would make a lot of sense. So we'll have to keep our eye out as to what will be happening in the Peak area. Now, aside from this, looking at the roadmap, the other 2 things that we have are, first of all, the Caldera Iron Trials. This one's pretty straightforward, and the second one is just new gameplay. I'm assuming that's referring to Operation Monarch and the game modes that will be coming with that, but they don't really go in depth in the patch notes with it. Now, moving into the more classified arms side of things, first off, we have new weapons, and then as you can see, the Mastercraft bundles are down at the bottom there. But essentially, throughout the season, there are 2 ranged weapons and 1 melee weapon coming. The first of which is the M1916, which is a marksman rifle. It is a semi-automatic rifle with high power and a good fire rate. They also say that it's impressive at any range, so we really need good bullet velocity on this weapon for it to be good within the Caldera. However, we don't really know at this point. We just know that it's coming as a part of the battle pass. The second one that we have is the Nikita AVT assault rifle. This has the best fire rate out of any of the assault rifles. It's going to be interesting because they say it can be outfitted for close quarters combat or long range, depending on what attachments that you use. It'll be an interesting one, and to see what attachments people actually end up using on it. Then finally, in season, we have the sledgehammer. This one's a sledgehammer. Pretty straightforward. The last weapon's coming at the mid-season update. It's called the H4 Blixen. It's a blowback SMG. They compare it to the PPSH and Sten. However, no images were shown of this one as of yet, so we have no idea what it looks like. Then we have our 3 new operators. First of all, we have Mateo Henderson. He is coming at launch. He will be the one that is in the battle pass. After that, in season, we have a character by the name of Florence Carter. And then my personal favorite character coming at the mid-season is Kim Tae-young. We don't know much about this character, but they have a mask, and generally those mask characters are pretty damn cool. Now, going and looking at the Vanguard content, I must say right away, there's not a huge amount here whatsoever. Well, the first thing that we have is a new map. This one is called Mayhem, and it takes place on a 1950s movie set, yet the game takes place in the 40s. I know, doesn't make much sense, but it appears as though the movie set is actually smaller than life. So as you can see, our characters standing against a building are essentially like 4 stories tall, kind of to go with the whole King Kong vibe, I assume. Now, this is the only map that we are getting with the launch of Season 3. It is a small, fast-paced map, which people like, but it's the only one at the launch. The second map is called Sphere, and as far as this map goes, it takes place beneath a coal mine, but what it actually is a hidden weapons lab to go with the whole classified arms vibe. This one is not coming out at launch, just sometime in season, and that's all we know. After this, we have a piece of equipment. This is a trophy system. It looks giant on the map Mayhem. Trust me, it's normal size, but this is a trophy system. It blocks projectiles. That's really all you need to know with it. It does not come in the battle pass. It's just given right away at the beginning of the season. As of right now, there's no kill streaks, no lethals, or no tactical grenades that have been announced, but they haven't announced the whole battle pass yet. But I'm willing to guess if they didn't put it in here, probably not coming out this season. Now, the rest is zombies content, and to be honest with you, there's not a lot here whatsoever. It appears as though they are much so more focusing on the future of zombies and going back to round-based content. As of right now, there really isn't much you need to know here whatsoever. It's just some zombies content. Aside from this, though, the only other really cool thing is there are some really cool looking bundles coming out, but other than that, that is pretty much Season 3, or classified arms as we're going to call it. If you couldn't tell, the majority of the content that we have here is revolving around Warzone. New locations in Warzone, and of course, Operation Monarch happening on the 11th. This is obviously going to be the biggest thing happening this season, and it seems like the further we get into Vanguard, the more focused we are on Warzone in and of itself, and I'm guessing because the player count in Warzone is exponentially higher than the player count of Vanguard. That is me just guessing. I don't have any numbers in and of itself, but based off of what I'm seeing online, the numbers on videos, things along those lines, that is my best guess, and I'm guessing we're going to see that trend continue. So that's pretty much all of the content that we know of so far for Season 3. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, always appreciate it if you hit that like button. I got something special coming later this weekend, something I've been working on for a while, a new series on the channel, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you want to, turn notifications on, all that good jazz. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.